So back with Nodin, and we're at day 17, and I wanted to introduce him to the Surcingle. So this Surcingle, I've got kind of two kinds. I've got a smaller, thinner one that I can use in the beginning, and then this one is a little bit bigger. But I really like this one because of the padding on it. So I'm going to let him, again, kind of follow it with me, let him touch it, see if I can get him to take a cookie so we can get some positive associations with it. Again, he's pretty good, but he can still have a little bit of worry about things, especially when it comes to his body. So I'm just going to give him a minute here. And then I'm just going to have him follow while I hold it and kind of like let it drag a little bit to the ground. And again, let him touch it. But, you know, it's a little bit different because I have the girth attached to it, but I kind of wanted to keep it that way for him. So again, I can practice with things going over his back. And I'm just trying to let him check it out. And again, each horse is different. Some kind of pick this up really quick and be like, okay, I don't care. Others, we have to kind of break it down into parts. So he's a little bit of the other, where I have to break it down here for him and be like, it's okay when it comes into that kind of that space for them where they can get a little bit worried. So it's where it's not touching them, but it's not super far away. It's just right in that eye space. So I'm going to work on if I can get it into that space and get him a little bit more comfortable. Again, trying to just let him have some time in between. And I'm going to work with the short end so then I'm not having to completely flip it over his back. I'm just trying to work right now with just touching him with it and then walking away. And give him a little bit of a reward. And I'm just talking to him there for a little bit. Oftentimes I do talk to them. I use my voice. Whenever I do give a reward, I like to give the cluck sound to give for the bridge. But you can see here he's pretty nervous. He has his tail a little clamped. But we're just going to go in and do those little baby steps first. And then I'm just going to go back and touch with my hand. And then again, go and walk the circle just to get him to move his feet a little bit. I think sometimes when you stand still and you're trying to make them stand, it can just cause more tension. So giving that little bit of a release of getting the walk. And then as it was touching him, which he's a little worried, I was able to give him a cookie, which cookies are, in fact, they're just little alfalfa cubes that I like to use for them. So again, I'm going to take the short end and just go with touching him. And yes, I'm moving slow at this moment. Again, I'm trying not to scare him in the very beginning when we're introducing. So trying to give it into a positive way so we don't scare him. But then, there, of course, he got worried and then it came off, which is not, it's totally fine. To me, I don't mind if that happens. They have to get used to things kind of falling off of them. And if he needed that space at that moment in time, it's completely fine. So I'm just going to reiterate, hey, bud, you're all right. Nothing bad happened. You were able to move. And then I was able to put it on him. And again, he's doing good. Like, if I felt like I needed to, I could take the girth off where that's a little jingly by his leg, but he's not too worried about that part. It's more so around his barrel where he gets a little claustrophobic, I guess you could say. So again, just going to work on a little bit of that approach and retreat, working on that short side of the surcingle. And he handled that pretty well. Still a little bit of a high head, still a little bit of a worry, but you got to start somewhere. So that was pretty good. And I'm not going to worry about trying to girth it up or anything the first time when there's this much concern about it. If they're not too concerned about it, then, and I've also done the rope prep work, then I'll girth them up. But he's not, I feel like he's not quite ready for that right now. So we're just going to work on having it on his body and letting him move around without it being girthed up on him. So this is a lot better. He's handling that pretty well. He's doing pretty good with it, kind of jingle-jangling. And I was pretty happy about that. And again, I'm going to be careful. I'm going to go in at a 45, kind of at the shoulder. And so I ended that with the surcingle and thought I should go back and do a little bit of rope work. So I wanted to put it over his barrel and kind of just have it in that space a little bit, work on a little bit of that drive line, just so he gets used to seeing. Then I'm just going to ask him to move out a little bit. He is a little fresh this morning. That's okay. And then just working on flipping that rope over and letting it kind of be in that same spot as where the surcingle was. And then I was able to get him to cross over, so then I could work on doing some more kind of surcingle prep work with the rope around his belly. So working on moving off of that pressure, kind of having that pressure on around his belly when he's moving. I think all those are really important, because I want to kind of teach him that everything is okay. So here I was just asking him to move forward, so I kind of increased the pressure a little bit just by flipping that rope up, just so I can kind of get a little bit more in the center. Then so he's able to walk out, and that was a pretty good circle. So I was pretty happy with that. Then I'm going to work on doing the other side, but I'm going to give him a minute first. And then ask him to go to the right. Just a little bit of a flip of the rope. Again, a lot of it has to do with energy, making sure you can control your energy, directing the energy at the correct time. So again, he just gets a little worried there and gets a little overreactive. So I'm just going to work on flipping that rope just a little bit, because it's just in that space. And if the rope kind of goes back behind and touches his hind legs, that's great. That's really nothing to worry about. But just trying to get him to relax a little bit with the movement of my hand and the rope. And I can also create a little bit more space here, so I can have him going forward. So again, this all kind of helps for when I want to start driving him, doing the ground drive. And again, just getting him comfortable with the rope being in all those kinds of places, and I can kind of flip it around. And there he kind of wants to stick and kind of turn to me, so that's where I just up the pressure a little bit. Because I didn't ask for it. There I asked for a little bit of the yield. And that was pretty good. And just kind of giving him some reassurance here. Working again with just swinging the rope, keeping my energy low. And a lot of this is just a lot of rinse and repeat, and then give a little bit of a release by walking away. I'm just going to reassure him right here. And then do the same thing. And again, this is also a pretty good building block for practicing if you want to do roping or anything like that. The horses get used to the rope kind of being pulled up and then all around them. So I really like doing this stuff in the beginning. And then again, making sure he has kind of that time in between. And working on giving him those scratches. But I was pretty pleased with how he did today. And just moving forward with Nodin's progress.